Marjorie Taylor Greene just made a startling insinuation about the Pope. Does this mean she has a full-blown conspiracy theory coming down the pipeline? Could we ever expect a moment of dignity from Congresswoman Greene? Stay with us, and don't hold your breath. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Few lawmakers have as notorious a reputation as the bleach-blonde, bad-built, butch-body spokeswoman from Georgia. Greene entered Congress in 2020 and immediately became a favorite of Donald Trump, both for her political positions and for her constant licking of his posterior. Blech. The Trump endorsement, coupled with Greene's love of social media, elevated her to national attention. But what really made her a household name was her love of conspiracy theories, including that 9/11 was a hoax, that Jews had space lasers and somehow controlled the weather.
Q is a patriot. We know that for sure. According to him, many in our government are actively worshiping Satan. Maybe that all these scary things that people talk about on what's considered conspiracy sites and conspiracy theories really may be true.
Particularly disturbing is their eagerness to reward a QAnon adherent, a 9/11 truther, a harasser of child survivors of school shooting.
During my entire campaign, QAnon.
And the so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane in the Pentagon.
I also want to tell you 9/11 absolutely happened.
If Scott Peterson, the resource officer at Parkland, had done his job, then Nicholas Cruz wouldn't have killed anybody in your high school, or at least protected them.
School shootings are absolutely real. And every child that is lost, those families mourn it. I never said any of these things since I have been elected for Congress.
What does all this have to do with the late Pope Francis? Check this out. In one of his final acts as pontiff, the Pope issued an Easter statement condemning the actions of the Trump administration, particularly when it came to immigrants. Pope Francis also refused to have a policy meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance, and the Vatican did not cite health concerns as the reason for the snub. The two did meet briefly at the Pope's residence. Oh, and by the way, before anybody says that the Pope was too sick to meet with Vance, the Pope was maintaining a full schedule against doctor's orders. Just saying. For more on that, see our other videos here on the channel. That wasn't the first time the Pope had issued statements condemning the actions of the Trump administration and the GOP. Here's a reminder.
Know that Pope Francis has spoken out against some of President Trump's policies recently and during his first administration. Help us understand the relationship between the two.
Yeah, Pope Francis and the Trump administration, both during the first administration and the second one, have clashed, particularly over policies related to immigration, the president's mass deportation plan, which Pope Francis called a disgrace. So the Holy See has called for has pushed back against cuts to international aid and also wanting peaceful resolutions to the wars in Ukraine and also the conflict between Hamas and Israel.
Now, just hours after the announcement of Pope Francis' passing, Marjorie Taylor Greene has weighed in, characteristically, via Twitter. Posting this morning, Greene made this cryptic statement. Today, there were major shifts in global leaderships. Evil is being defeated by the hand of God. So let's mull this over, shall we? Does anyone else think Congresswoman Greene is implying that Pope Francis was evil? This actually keeps in character for her. Greene was raised Catholic but converted and joined an evangelical megachurch in 2011. In 2022, she attacked the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, accusing them of, quote, destroying America with their work regarding immigrants and refugees, and claiming that Satan was, quote, controlling the church, unquote. Such a classy tribute to a pious man who spent his life doing and encouraging others to engage in charity work. And in this instance, I just have to wonder, who's the better Christian here? The guy who encouraged respect and humanity for immigrants, welcomed queer people to the church, and advocated for global peace? Or the woman who has expressed anti-Semitism in multiple forms, become one of the biggest cheerleaders of the Pizzagate pedophile Satanist conspiracy, or advocated for Muslim bans in the United States. What would Jesus say here? I have some choice things I would like to say to Ms. Greene, but following in the peaceful example of Pope Francis, not to mention Jesus himself, I'm not going to say them right now. But I will say this. This is an attack on the Pope's memory just hours after his death, and it is low even for Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's one thing to have policy differences with the man. It's another to claim that the hand of God struck him down. If there is anyone in America who has never heard the voice of God, I'd say Marjorie Taylor Greene is among the surest bets for silence. Silence she would do well to mimic, as opposed to spewing her slime on Americans mourning the loss of a religious leader. This is Occupy Democrats.